everybody, and welcome to Go-10, Get Organized in 10 Minutes a Day. With me, I'm Tiffany Spaulding, and this is session number 7. And today we're going to talk about organizing your dies. Those tiny little skinny pieces of metal that are easy to misplace, easy to forget about, really difficult to sort, store, and organize, and we're going to help you with all of that today. What are you going to need today? You are going to need, obviously, your dies. I keep the covers to, or the packaging for all my dies, so if you've kept those, you're going to want to have those handy as well. You are going to need, if you're a got-a-lot, you're going to be adding to your catalog. You probably already knew that. So you are going to need some scraps. So if you've had a hard time purging your scraps, or you've got a scrap bin or box around, bring that out. You're going to use that. You could also use those big stacks of paper that you bought and you never use because you don't like the paper anymore, but it's a perfect opportunity to kind of use some of that up. So you've got your scraps, you've got your dies, you obviously need something to cut your dies with. So I'm going to use my little grand caliber there. If you're a got-a-lot, you're going to need your catalog and whatever storage tool you're using. I'm using a scrap rack. I'm going to show you a couple of different other storage tools as well. Now, if you're a got-a-little, you're not going to be cutting, right? You have the easy task of just integrating, so you don't need to worry about that. But let's talk about a couple of brand new die storage items that we have available here. If you are on our email list, you probably got an email about a product launch called Dynamic Storage. And this system is 5 cards in plastic envelopes, and each card has a little pocket in the front of it, and that's going to be for loading up your dies. And you can see I have mine labeled B1C5, and you're going to learn what that's all about a little bit later. So that is the dynamic system. It's 5 cards that fit into this little handled plastic box, so it's easy to store and easy to take with you. Now you're going to get a sneak peek of 2 items that aren't even available yet, but they will be at the end of the month. Ooh, right? So at the end of the month, I should say this month, the month that I'm recording this class, is June of 2014. So if you're watching it after June of 2014, they're already available. The first one is called Stuck on Dies. We call it sticky storage around here. And it's the same concept. It's 5 plastic cards, and they're coated with a light tack repositionable adhesive, right? Not super sticky, just a little bit of stickiness. And then they have this lightweight film over the top of them. They're double-sided, so you can put a set of dies on each side. Again, 5 of them are going to come in this little storage box with the handle on it for storing your dies that way. So that's 2. And then the third one is similar. Well, it's kind of the same thing in a different size, I guess. And this is, you probably already figured it out, a 6x6 card, which fits in your fabulous 4 pages in your scrap rack. So I'm going to show you how to use this little card. If you're working with the scrap rack, it's going to be a perfect way to store your dies right into your scrap rack. Okay, now if you look around, I've got quite a mess going here. And Karen, I'm sure, is panning over to reveal to you the big mess that I've got on the other side of the room, right? This is always one of those it gets worse before it gets better situations. So you can kind of see the process that I'm in here of actually going through all of my dies, making examples of those things, and then I'm going to catalog them. You're seeing some of the catalog sheets there as well. So if you are a got-a-lot, you're going to do the cataloging system, and if you're a got-a-little, you're just going to integrate into your 4-section system using whatever storage tool you want to use. Now, if you bear with me for just a couple of seconds, and you actually, it's not going to be a couple of seconds because I'm going to have Karen shut off the camera. I'm going to clean up this whole mess, put everything into my scrap rack or my catalogs or whatever storage system I'm going to show you, and then you can come on back and see what it looks like when all this stuff is all cleaned up. Welcome back, everybody, and as you can see, things have cleaned up quite a bit around here. So let's take a look at what the end result is. Now I'm going to start with you got-a-littles because your lives are so much easier than the rest of ours, and I'm going to start with this little set here of Christmas dies, which happen to match this little set of Christmas stamps. So I put the dies on my little die storage card. Now on the back side of the die storage card, I have another set of Christmas dies. And with that other set of Christmas dies, I have the front of the package so I can see what they look like. And I'm just going to bundle all of these things together, and guess where they're going to go? In that Fab 4 pocket page. Now I know, because we've been working together through this process for weeks, exactly what pages I have in each section of my little demo setup that we've been doing. I know there is not a Fab 4 page. So this page, for those of you who are unfamiliar with the scrap rack lingo, is a 4-pocket page, hence the name Fab 4, and each of the pockets is 6 1/4 by 6 1/4. And so now I can slip that that die, the stamp, and on the back side of the pocket you're going to see the other die packaging, so you know what that looks like. And now I can take this and I'm going to go right here to, which I pulled, this is our calendar year section that we've been working on. I pulled it off my scrap rack over there. I'm going to flip to the winter section. Now you know how I am, right? I like to have my pockets in order, so smaller pockets in the front, working back to bigger pockets. So I'm going to put this little 4 pocket between the 8 pocket page and the 5 pocket page. And now I'm going to close up my binder so it doesn't pop open on me. And now I've got that, the dies and the stamps, and they're all in the Christmas section where they're going to be used. And you can see here on this 8 pocket page, I also have, you can see right there at the bottom, I have 2 more dies in there that are just stored in there loosely, and they're Christmas card trim dies. I just popped them right into the winter section, and now they're there, and I'm going to see them, and I'm going to be able to use them. The other thing we did last week when we talked about punches was we created some small cards like this that were going to fit into our scrap rack. So this is a 4x6 card. On that Christmas stamp, on that Christmas die and stamp set, there's this little gift box which I showed you earlier. It's also going to work great in birthday. Now I could just slip this right where it's stored, so it says winter at the top there, because I know that's where the die and stamps are stored. I could just slip this little sample right into a pocket page in birthday, but it would probably get lost in there because it's pretty small. So same thing we did with the punches last week. I'm just going to add it to this little card, and then I'm going to put this card in the birthday section over on my scrap rack when we get to the point where we're putting everything away. Okay, so got a little, so your life is a little bit easier than the rest of ours. That's all you're going to do. You're going to integrate those dies right into the 4-section system where they belong. Now you crazy got-a-lot girls, maybe there's some guys out there too. Now you saw my big mesh over there where we made samples of all the dies. Next step, which you already know because we've been doing this, is to put those dies into your catalog. So here are all those beach dies, and I've got them right there in the catalog under B for beach in my theme section. Over here in birthday, you can see I've got the birthday. This is a die set that matches this stamp. Oh, and there's that little birthday box that we just saw earlier with the Christmas, and it's labeled where I'm going to find that. Now I've got a little bit of crossover here because what I'm doing to show a variety of methods of storage, I really am going to have all my dies right into my scrap rack. So I see some cross numbering there. Here we've got our different punches and borders on the borders page. Now when you look for these in your catalog, I'm going to go to numbers 4, and this long die here, or these long dies right here, those are 12-inch long border dies, and I just wrote on them 4/119, 4/120. So I flip to my 4 tab and I look for those pockets, 119 and 120, and there are those long dies. You can also see I've got the Sizzix dies in here as well, so you would do an example of those and put them in your catalog as well. And I'm just going to flip it back here for a minute and show you. We've got the other little sizzlets here too, so those fit as well, just right in your catalog pages if you're using a scrap rack. Now the sizzlets, both the long and the short, obviously they're not going to fit in the die storage boxes we talked about earlier. And just as we go through, you're going to see all of the different dies, and they're all just numbered with where we can find the things. So we saw the dies numbered 4, and we knew those were in the 4 pocket page. And then these dies are numbered B1-C something. And those are our die storage boxes that we talked about briefly earlier. So the end of the box says this is 3. So I'm going to look for B1C2 to find those flowers. So this is box number 1. And I'm going to go to the tab, box 1, card 2. I'm going to pull out card 2, and there's all the dies that match these flowers. In the back of the pocket, I've got the examples from the package as well, so I can see what those look like. Super easy to find, really easy to put away. B1, I know it's going in box 1. Just going to go back to box 1, open it up, slip that card in where it belongs, and now I've got everything back in order in just a couple of minutes. A little handle on the top. So I just put a simple label on the edge of each box with the box number. And that means I can continue to add boxes, right? So if I fill up box 1, I can add box 2, and just by labeling that card, I can store those things in the most efficient way possible, right? I've got my other, this is box number 2, and inside it, the cards are labeled the same. Even though it's sticky storage, it doesn't matter because it's still the box number on the outside, the card number's on the inside. Now, with the sticky storage, or the stuck-on dies is what it's called, when you put them on the card, you really need to push that die down into the adhesive, and you need to make sure there's enough paper or enough space around each die that the film on the front has something to stick down to. We didn't want to have enough adhesive on the card that it was going to come off and stick to your die, so you need to make sure you push it into the adhesive and that you have enough space around each of the items that is going to hold on to that die storage card. So now you've got all your dies boxed up. I wanted to share an experience that I had with you while I was making these. This is a really cool, I'll put a card behind it, a really cool yet very intricate crucifix die. It's very beautiful. I tried this with multiple types of paper, multiple thicknesses of cardstock and paper, and every time I ran it through, I ended up with something that looked like this, right? So what am I going to tell you? I'm going to tell you this die doesn't work, right? It doesn't work. It doesn't matter what I put it through, it doesn't work. A Spellbinder's die, Spellbinder's tool, it doesn't work. Now, this is going to be very difficult for some of you, right? I want you to summon your inner Tiffany, and when you come across something like this in the process, and there's going to be other things, because when we start to organize your inks and chalks and pens, you're going to find pens that no longer work, whatever. When something doesn't work, I want you, as I said, if it's difficult for you to get rid of things, summon your inner Tiffany and bye-bye into the garbage. It's gone. It doesn't work, right? Now, some of you are getting a stomach ache watching me do that. I know it, but it doesn't work. Don't put it in your purge box and give it to a friend so she can be miserable. Don't take it to the garage sale at your local scrapbook store and recoup $5 for it and torture someone else. If it doesn't work, just throw it away, right? Everybody will be so much happier. Okay, so it's just garbage. It's just nothing. It's horrible. It's a horrible little, it's a beautiful die, but it doesn't really work. And it's a good lesson, right? I bet a lot of you have dies that you've never worked with, that you purchased and you never used. So one of the important things now that you've got your dies organized is when you buy a new set of dies and you still have the receipt, bring it home, run it through your cutter, make sure it works the way that you thought it was going to work, and then you, since you ran it through your cutter, put that example in your catalog or into your 4-section system, file your little die away, Bob's your uncle, and it's done. But the beautiful thing about that is, had I tried to use that die right after I bought it when I still had the receipt for it, I would have realized at that point it didn't work, and I could have taken it back and got my money back and chose something that did work. So that should be a little motivating story for you, that as new things come into your craft room, to take care of putting them away right away, because then you'll be able to take care of things that don't work, and you won't be stuck with something like that beautiful yet non-working die that I just threw in the garbage. Okay, so now let's put it all together, right? So part of the joy of this whole exercise is finishing it up and going over to our organized only space and really taking a look at how things all come together and what they look like. So let's take a little walk over and check that out. We've got our scrap rack on top. I'm just going to add back in the things I removed. So this is my calendar year section. So let's just flip through here. I'm going to put the calendar year section back in front of the rainbow. Next thing I've got is my now stamp and die section. I'm going to pop that in. Last thing I've got is my catalog. I'm going to pop that in. Now I've got the little birthday example card that I made, so I'm just going to go right over here to my birthday section. I'm going to slip that example card into a pocket, and now I have a sample of that stamp, or that punch, or die, whatever it is, and I know where to find it. So you can see we're just working through the same series of steps, and we're just applying those steps to other things within our craft supply world. Next step, final step for today, is to take our boxes and put them in order on the shelf. So we've got box number 1, box number 2, and box number 3. So now imagine that you are sitting here, that this was your workspace, and in just these 7 weeks, in these 10 minutes a day, and maybe you spend a little bit more than 10 minutes a day, depending on how many goodies you have, you've got all of this stuff together. You could sit here, as I sit in my little square over there, and you could put your hands on punches and dies and paper and all of your embellishments and your stickers and all of those other goodies. It's just all coming together. And I know at the beginning I got some emails from a lot of you that said there's no way you're going to be able to make that little tiny space efficient, but it truly has become an efficient space. So you've got your 10 minutes a day cut out for you for the next week. So thank you so much for joining me for Go-10, Get Organized in 10 Minutes a Day. I'm Tiffany Spaulding, and I'm so glad you joined me this week.